What's up, everyone? And I think today we're going to be looking at some articles. And this is the first one. This is about Marvel. And it was written by J.A. Micheline, whatever you pronounce that. And it's called Why I'm Boycotting Marvel Comics. And this is from Comics Alliance. Marvel, you and I are taking a break. It's not me, it's you. And you made a decision really easy. I wonder why. Is this to do with social justice and maybe you don't want some people doing things because they're... Ooh, I think we'll leave that as a surprise. In the past 2-3 weeks, I've watched you disrespect and disregard marginalised voices, and I've had enough. Oh, really? I've not seen a disrespect and disregard marginalised voices. I mean, Marvel's the most equality-driven of all the comic book and movie studios that there are. But we can't let facts get in the way with this, can we? You'll be saying that a lot, by the way. And she continues, first came your quiet decision to hand the new Blade book over to 2 white creators. Oh my god! Oh, the horror! Oh, the shame, Marvel! Shame on you! Shame on you for handing over a character that just happened to be created by 2 white creators to 2 white creators. This shows how someone who is writing for Comics Alliance knows fuck all about comics. And I don't even read Blade, yet I know who wrote him and who created him. So, come on. To be clear, she says, I have no reason to think either creator will do a bad job on this book, but I was disappointed that one of Marvel's most prominent black heroes will be handed to white people yet again. So it's not their skill as writers and artists that you have a problem with, it's their race that you happen to have a problem with. Yet you're saying that Marvel has a problem with this. I feel like I have to say this 5 or 6 times. Whenever this comes up, I get a tsunami of white people wondering what my problem is and suggesting I'm racist for saying white people can't write about people of colour. It's not that white people can't. It's not even that they shouldn't, except in some circumstances that I have written about almost ad nauseum recently. It's that white people are the ones who historically and systemically are consistently offered the opportunity. And in 2015, perhaps the right thing to do is to let people of colour have a turn. So, as a person of colour, and I hate that term by the way, but you know, I'm in social justice land, so they only really understand English when it's in their buzzwords. I say, fuck you. How dare you try and stop people from writing characters that are beloved just because of their race? And it's not a tsunami of white people that you get. You get everyone after you. Everyone of all different types. Because what you're doing is racist. And what do you mean some circumstances? What are these circumstances that you've written about ad nauseum? There's no link to them. You know, at least The Guardian, when they say I can't be arsed writing what I've already written in a link, so we can just click on it nicely and see what they've said before. And, well, the fact of the matter is, and I hate to break it to you, but America and Britain, they're majority white, and they built up that industry. They weren't the only ones who did it, but, you know, I think that kind of makes sense on a logical scale. And you know, to say that people of colour need a turn, fuck meritocracy, you know? Just give them a chance, because let them write comics just because they're brown or whatever. That's not how to do things. You need to promote them on merit. You need to say, okay, this person, David or something, he's a really good writer. Let's put him on the team because he's really good. He has a portfolio. It doesn't matter if he's black or white or whatever. It's all about skill and creativity and how good you are at writing comics and whatever. It's nothing to do with colour. It shouldn't have to. You're just saying that we should give them a chance just because of that, not because of skill or talent. And that's wrong, and that's why you're getting criticised. And let's continue, people. But fine. You gave Blade to white guys. This isn't new. It's the same disappointment that is part and parcel of being a non-white fan. Oh, so basically because nothing reflects what you are as a person, therefore it is wrong. Despite the fact that Blade was written by 2 white guys, one of whom is dead, by the way. And you're kind of shitting on his memory by writing this racist bullshit right now. It is my reality to expect this from Marvel, from DC, from everyone. Black people writing about black people becomes a black thing. White people talking about black issues is somehow viewed as more neutral or honourable because they are unbiased. Okay, sure, just another day. I've not heard anyone say that it's neutral or more honourable. And I don't know anyone who says black people writing about black people is a black thing. It's just a thing that people do. If anything, it's you making it a black thing, not everyone else. Besides, it's you who's trying to segregate the comic industry by just having white people write about white people, Asian people write about Asian people, and blah 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 blah. That's wrong. We should be able to write about whatever we want. Make characters from wherever they come from. That's the whole point of having an imagination and making comics. Even your announcement about the hip-hop variants wasn't massively shocking. I'm used to your executive editors just not getting it. I'm used to tone deafness, and now I'm used to cultural appropriation. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus Christ. Cultural appropriation, here we go. Okay, look, I've said this loads of times. It doesn't exist. Cultures become stronger, they last longer when they are shared, when there is mutual exchange of ideas, and, I hate to be a bit dirty, but love. I wouldn't be alive if it weren't for cultural appropriation, okay? And I'm sure some of you people out there wouldn't be alive without it either. Keep that in mind. I'm used to companies using black culture for profit, but I refuse to put actual black people on their payroll. And before you say you have, show me the receipts. It's the entertainment industry. Every culture is used to make money by people who may not be from that culture. That is how it works, and that's how it's always going to work. That's not necessarily a bad thing. If anything, it's showing people these new cultures that they may not have seen before or not have much contact with. Surely that is a good thing to see this beneficial exchange of ideas, surely. But it's just because Marvel's mostly white, really, isn't it? This person wants Marvel to reflect what they are and not what reality is. So, never mind. Really, show me your current black writers. I am practically begging for someone to prove me wrong on this score. I've been loudly trotting out the fact that Marvel has never hired the black woman to write an ongoing in 75 years because I'm waiting for the blessed day for when some fanboy can, well, actually, me, with a single example. I won't stop complaining, but at least it'll have been one. I don't know what most of these people who write the comics look like, and I don't particularly care. I mean, 75 years? You do realise 75 years ago there was still Jim Crow, right? But bear in mind Marvel is from the north. But still, 75 years ago is a hell of a lot different to now. And maybe some black women don't want to write comics. I don't know. I mean, maybe there's just no one there who Marvel think is good enough for the job. That's not a bad thing either. If this woman's not good enough, she's just not good enough. Same as a man won't be good enough. They won't hire them. It's a meritocracy. You don't write for Marvel just because you happen to be a particular person. You have to have the talent. And don't, she says, well, we have black artists, colorists me either. In a climate, you have clearly and wrongly demonstrated that you value writers over artists. I think this person's talking rubbish right now. By your own standards and priorities, you've made it implicitly clear that black people can't have the reins to their stories or anyone else's. No, that was you, but never mind. But I digress. I also digress. The moment you and I really started having a problem in Marvel was when your editor-in-chief all but laughed off the numerous critiques of the variants. Axel Alonso's interview with CBR was unspeakingly condescending and horrendously dismissive. From using scare quotes to frame the discussion to referring to outcry from David Brothers and other readers' critics as a small but very loud contingent, to, and this is the part that I pretty much can't forgive, indicating that we had suddenly learned the phrase cultural appropriation and were eager to use it in an essay. He's kind of right. You've literally just learned what it is, and you want to lose it in an essay. This is exactly what you guys do. You learn the new buzzwords and the weasel words, and you write an essay about them. You know nothing about them. You know nothing about reality because you don't live in reality because you guys are batshit crazy. And let's be honest, he's right. We can't just go around employing people just because we need a quota. That's not going to help comics in the long run. Look, talented people are everywhere. You just have to find them. And if they're mostly white, they'll be mostly white. I'm sorry. But there will be someone. It's going to happen. You will have that female black person who will be an amazing artist / writer who will be on an ongoing. It's going to happen. Stop trying to force it. We've done well so far not trying to force it too much. So please, calm down, have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, whatever you drink, and just relax and realise that the world is okay at this point when it comes to shit like this. But, never mind. Despite Marvel being really good at, trying to keep equality and blah 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 blah, it's just not good enough. Nothing's really good enough for you guys, is it? I could actually write an entire piece on why it was beyond a bad idea to parade the assumption that black critics have just learned the world of cultural appropriation and have no idea what they're talking about. The thing is, you don't know what you're talking about because cultural appropriation doesn't exist. It's wrong. It promotes segregation. Ironically, it's as bad as any of the worst racism you can think of, just because of its perceived goodwill that is behind the word. Really, if you think about it, the fact that it's seen as such a good thing when really it isn't, and most of you really do talk about it as if you've just learnt it. I have seen so many articles, so many YouTube videos of people doing this. They don't know what they're talking about. I've had arguments with people on the internet, and they don't know what they're talking about. Without cultural appropriation, we would not have rock and roll. I would not have a country to live in. I hate to use this all the time, but I would not be alive. You won't be alive. None of us would be alive without cultural appropriation. Without sharing basic ideas and how to live together. God damn it, I'm sick of cultural appropriation. I could definitely, they say, write an entire piece on why it was well past the point of bad choices for Alonso to only directly address the critique that came from white writer Noah Berlatsky, I don't know who that is, and use it as an excuse to ignore all other critiques. But he's right. You guys don't know what you're talking about. There's no problem. It's all in your heads. But I won't, because there are only so many hours in the day, and we're still on the topic of why I'm boycotting you. Yeah, why are you boycotting them? You haven't given me one decent idea as to why you're boycotting Marvel, because it seems to me like you're just throwing a hissy fit, and you just need to calm down and realise that, oh, I've made a terrible mistake. But you know what? If you're going to boycott them, boycott them. You can make your decision, even if it's a dumb decision. Marvel don't necessarily need you buying their comics. I mean, they've got millions more people who don't give a shit about these things and just want good quality comics. And there's very few places where you can get good quality comics, and Marvel is one of them. Beyond the general hand-waving... Oh, did I not say that? Yes, this is a boycott. I'm boycotting you, Marvel Comics. Thank you for finally getting on topic after this meandering essay about race and shit. Why are you actually boycotting them? Because here's what happened in the week that followed. Oh great, more description and history. Beyond the general hand-waving and promises with minimal substance about black writers, Alonso, editor-in-chief, let's remember, the person who's running the show in your editorial department, made it clear that your upcoming Hercules book would depict him categorically as straight. This at a time when you were putting out ZERO, I'm using their accent, ZERO, or ZERO, zero, books with a queer lead character. He's not queer, he's actually bisexual. See, this is another problem, okay? You're perfectly fine with changing people like Thor and other characters into women or LGBT characters. But if we turn an LGBT character into a straight person, that's wrong. See, you complain about us complaining about changing established characters, yet as soon as somebody changes Hercules, who likes men and women, to specifically liking women, that's wrong. Now, I don't read Hercules. This is the first time that I'd actually heard of him recently. And to be honest, if you're gonna change a character, you might as well change them. You know, there's nothing I can do. I can complain about, female Thor, whatever, blah 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 blah. But at the end of the day, that's their creative decision, and as long as they write it well, I'll accept it. It's really more comes from a fear of bad writing more than it does, oh, Thor's now a woman, I don't like women. No, it's a fear that the gender will be used. It'll be taking a forefront rather than Thor kicking ass. That's the problem. But you're doing exactly what you're accusing us of doing. Of going, oh my god, they're changing the sexuality of this person. Now the sexuality is going to be forefront when it's not. Not a single one. They continue. Hercules, a character who's canonically, and I mean going back to the Greeks, canonically bisexual, and a character who has been depicted as, alluded to as bisexual throughout your comics. And your editor-in-chief says no. They could change it because it's their character. I'm sorry. Now you see, there's a difference between this comic book Hercules and the mythical Hercules. Yes, the mythical Hercules was bisexual. So what? But this is a different Hercules. This isn't the same Hercules. This is a hero, a comic book hero called Hercules, and they can create him in any way they want. Besides, he's still canonically straight. I think there's something about. I think it may be a different dimension or something. They're just changing it in one particular part of the comics. He still will be canonically bi. It's like Thor is still Thor, but there's the woman at the moment. You know what comics are like. They'll change it back eventually. It's just something that they're doing. But never mind. You're just being a hypocrite here. And let's continue the article, people. That is, in no uncertain terms, a slap in the face to every queer reader who picks up your comic books. God, I mean, I remember being taught as a kid that queer is a bad word. Why all of a sudden is it okay for people who, I don't know if you're gay or straight or bi or trans, I don't know if you can even use this word. You haven't really said that you are. I've forgotten pretty much what she said now. Or he. I don't know. So I don't know if you're gay or straight. So I still think that queer is a bad word. I don't like using that word. I don't like referring to people as queers. I like using the word when it means weird, but I don't like using it when it's about people's sexuality. I think it's wrong. Just like I think people of colour is just calling me coloured. I don't like it. And how is it a slap in the face? They won't care. They'll read the comics. They may like it, they may not like it. They can put it down and read something else. Or they can go and create their own Hercules. Or they can just go and read the ancient Greek myth. He's not the Hercules from Marvel, but he is what he is, and has been for the last several thousand years. But you see, this is all you can do. You can only complain about the comics and write about the comics because you haven't got the talent to write your own characters. You can't be bothered to enter the industry yourself. You just go on this website and show off your horrible knowledge of comics. Me, as a person who doesn't read that much comics, knows more about Blade than you do. Come on. Let's continue the article. You had an opportunity to represent them, an opportunity that already has precedent, an opportunity that would require next to no effort from you, and your top representative went out of his way to make sure queer people weren't included. No, he didn't. You are included. Wolverine will have sex with anything. There's loads of LGBT characters in Marvel. Loads of them. They're still there. Hercules is not the be-all, end-all of LGBT characters. They will create more. You can create more. You have the power to create another character that could stand the test of time, but you won't. You instead complain about bullshit identity politics. Rather than, try and get more people to write these characters. So what have they changed it? They can change it back. They probably will change it back. He is still canonically bi. And besides, who cares? It's one aspect, and it just further shows your hypocrisy. Again. And then, as if it weren't enough, she says, or he says, I don't know, never mind. I keep forgetting if this person's a boy or a girl, because I don't know what their name is. It's just JH, you know? Alongside Chris Stilando, they took to Twitter basically, your number 2 PR person, and retweeted the Photoshop from, Gamergate, here we go people. We just have to slip in Gamergate there, because, you know, there's an agenda to push. And just to show the social justice community that, yes, I am against Gamergate, you know. This person has to show that. And they retweeted a Photoshop from a Gamergater, effectively mocking anyone who viewed Hercules as queer. He's bi, for fuck's sake. But I don't know what the difference is, okay? Using images from an issue that some had already found questionable with regards to queer representation. Milo Yiannopoulos, Justicar, 2 very prominent gay members of Gamergate, and I could go on and list others. Sophia Eris is trans. I know there's loads of bisexual people there. You know, not just go and look at all the hashtags Not Your Shield people. I'm one of them. I'm a straight mixed race person, but you know I don't count because I'm a quarter. I'm closer to white than people who are half. So you know, in your attitude. And so what if they retweeted the Gamergate? They don't know about Gamergate. He's just a fan. They probably agreed with him. Yes, they say the tweets were deleted with no apology. Good. At least they didn't apologise to you. At least they have the foresight so that an apology to you people will not work, because you cannot be satisfied with anything. They could bring back Hercules as a bisexual character, as they probably will anyway. I mean, I don't know how they're going to work this in. I don't know if it's in a different comic or the same comic. Either way, it will all go back to normal eventually. I mean, even Spider-Man is now Peter Parker again, after several different comics where he's been different people. You know? And apparently that doesn't matter in the slightest, she says. And oh god, there's even more of this article. This really is ironically an essay in which this person doesn't know what they're talking about. In the past 2 weeks, your editor-in-chief has not just denied criticism by, denied representation of, and ultimately denied opportunities for marginalised people, he then used social media to make fun of us, right next to the person who's responsible for your public relations. This goes right to the core of your company, and I will not accept it. You have not once given us any evidence that he is denying representation and denying opportunities. So what? One character has been changed. So what? That's not evidence that he's denying opportunities and representation. They will always be represented. They are people. Art imitates life, and these people will always have a place in art. Always. Stop trying to drum up fear and trying to drum up a witch hunt against Marvel, which is what you're really after. You're trying to force people to change things to suit your idea of what it should be, and not what Marvel wants it to be. I'm sorry, but you do not tell Marvel what to do. You are not the arbiter of what art is. You cannot tell people like me what to make videos about. You cannot tell Alonso what comics he wants to write and what artists and writers he should hire. That is not up to you. That is up to us. So, we're on a break until 2 things happen. 1, you hire 3 different black... Wow! So, we've got very specific rules for this person to come back to buying Marvel. Okay, so what did they say? 1, you hire 3 different black writers. Not 1, not 2, not 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10, but 3 different black writers for their ongoing books. And 2, you put the 3 ongoing books with different queer leads. No. How about let them write what they want, and you write those comics that you want. But you won't do that because you have no talent. There's a reason why you are writing shite like this on comicsalliance.com, because you do not have the talent to draw a hero that you want to see or write a hero that you want to see. That is why. This is why you social justice warriors have never once created a successful piece of art. You know, be it gaming, video, you know, I don't know, film, I mean, or novels, or comics. Because you're talentless. You have no talent. You're rich. You're lazy. And you do nothing. I've at least written short stories. I have at least tried to write characters. I have my own YouTube channel. I am trying to create content. What are you trying to do? You're just complaining about the world and doing nothing about it. That's all you're doing. Both of these conditions must be met to get me to buy any of the rest of your books for the foreseeable future. Are you trying to blackmail them? Are you trying to say, if you do not meet these demands, I will not buy your comics anymore? Marvel are quaking in their boots, mate. Marvel are quaking in their boots. I know what you're thinking. Wow, Jam. Isn't that a lot to ask for? Why not just come back to them when they've done one of each, you know? Give them a chance. Well, I'm thinking, oh, cry me a river. Go, stop writing this bullshit. Get off the computer and just go out and live life for a bit, you know? Go read a novel. Go read the comics that you really like. You do realise that just because Hercules is now no longer bisexual, for at least this run of the comics, you can still read the old ones, right? That doesn't take away from the quality of those comics. And you can still read all the Blade stories that were written by black people. I mean, I don't know of any comics, really, but, you know, go ahead. I'm sure you do. Well, I'm thinking of Black's comics creator Dwayne McDuffie's Rule of Three. McDuffie posits that as soon as you have 3 members of a marginalised community represented, they stop being token members and start, strangely, being perceived as taking over. He relates that when he began writing Justice League and included 3 black members on the team, as an editorial directive, fans, primarily white and male, see more racism towards white people because it's okay, you know, they're white. You can't be racist towards white people, you can't be sexist towards men. Suddenly felt that he was pushing some kind of agenda. In fact, what McDuffie had done was represent marginalised characters not as tokens, but instead as people who have their own community and are equally valued. I'm sorry, but that is such an arbitrary rule and such an arbitrary number. How does 3 not make them token? How does that make them seem much better as characters? Surely having Jon Stewart, motherfucking Jon Stewart, the Green Lantern in Justice League is good enough. Bear in mind, in a lot of comics, he's actually part of the majority. He's a human. He's a human. In the Justice League, there's, let me see, I'm going to say there's about 3 aliens, and the rest are human. But some of the humans are superhuman, but they're still human. He's actually part of a majority there, technically. And look, nobody cares. I mean, why does this number mean that they're being fairly represented? That doesn't mean anything. Sure, there's, you know, tokenism does exist in entertainment, but you're making a big deal out of it. So what if someone wants to put one black person in? It doesn't mean they're trying to make it the token person. Maybe they just want that character to be an African American or a Afro-Caribbean British person. I mean, what's your problem? Why is it? How do you know that it's primarily white and male people? How do you know that? You've not given me evidence for that, and you're saying it as if it's a bad thing. And I don't know who Dwayne McDuffie is. I don't know if he is pushing some kind of agenda or not. What I do know is that this Rule of 3 is bullshit. You know. I mean, it's always, you see, you always talk about. I give in with that. Let's move on, people. And that's what I'm demanding of you, Marvel. Yeah, demanding, which you're never going to get, because you do not run Marvel. You do not tell them what to do. They're a massive media conglomerate. You are one person on a small website writing shite. I'm sure you'll say that I'm only hurting my cause by not giving money to books that are representing the diversity deal, or to other creators of colour or female creators or what have you. Yes, you are hurting your cause by doing that. But I will remind you that this is what happens whenever anyone boycotts anything. Any boycott will inevitably have collateral damage to people who don't espouse the same views as their employers. But the fact of the matter is, you, the corporation, you will only start listening when the money stops rolling in. Ah, yes. So you not handing them a few dollars means it's going to hurt them, right? You, an army of one, is going to single-handedly stop Marvel from making money. You know, it's perfectly okay to harm people who are the same as you and have the same values as you just to make your point. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for saying that. If we destroy some writers' livelihoods, it's okay, because in the long run, we'll have more. Brilliant. Fantastic. Brilliant. Genius. You've crossed the line, and it's time to take a stand. You go, brother or sister. I don't know what gender you are. I forgot. I keep forgetting people. You're gonna have to, remind me. I can't. I don't know. I'm so sorry, writer. I'm very, very sorry about this. My memory is kind of fuzzy right now. Anyway, let's continue, people. Readers make this choice all the time. They elect not to buy certain comics for personal or political reasons, and it is their right and prerogative to do so. And I will not stop you from boycotting Marvel, but these are bullshit reasons. These are identity politics reasons. This is an excuse for you to write shite like this. Articles that have no bearing on anything that is happening. You are just being an asshole right now. Fine. Just because of Hercules and Blade, two random characters who are being written by someone or written in a certain way, which is apparently a bad thing, but not necessarily if you do it right. You see, the problem that people had with female Thor is that she became a conduit for which the writers could include social justice bullshit, and people didn't like it. Also, the comic run was terrible, but that's besides the point. And this is what you're proposing. You want to force people to write in a certain way, which will ruin the quality of the comics. But let's move on, people. Let's move on. It just so happens that my boycott has gone company-wide because, among other things, Axel Alonso's name is printed and credited on every single one of your books. As far as I know, what he stands for is what you stand for. Oh, that is a load of crap. Just because the editor-in-chief has his name on it does not mean that you should boycott every single book. You see, these people don't give a shit about each other. They eat each other. They will ruin someone on their own side if it benefits their agenda and the greater good. They've admitted this right now. But I also want to say here, let's not get it twisted. This is not about Alonso's recent conduct as an individual, but you just said it was. Throughout this entire essay, you have just said that this is mainly because of what he's done and what he's done on social media and who he's hired to write characters and what they've done to write characters. You can't say one thing and then say another, but it's okay. Social justice warriors love doing that shit. This is about how his actions fit into the overall pattern of your publishing and hiring patterns. Oh, so it is what he's done. I'm not boycotting your editor-in-chief, I'm boycotting you. You are boycotting the editor-in-chief and by and large boycotting Marvel. This is about a constellation of choices made by your establishment, not a single data point. Bullshit. I'm past the point of giving you the chance, and I've landed straight in the territory of demanding something more than one and done. Something more than one writer and one queer character. Something more than your excuses or your breadcrumbs. I'm demanding that you start listening. They won't listen to you, because what you've just written is drivel. They're laughing at you right now. An arbitrary rule of 3. An arbitrary number of LGBT characters, an arbitrary way of writing things, demanding people to write the art that you want rather than you supporting the art that you want to see, or creating the art that you want to see. You're an idiot. Put a black writer on the book. They have. I'll give it a try. No, you won't. You just said here that you will gladly ruin writers that are like you in order to bring about this paradigm that you want. Announce a book with a queer lead. I will gladly read that first issue. But until you can break that rule of 3, and really, until you get your house in order, you'll have no business from me. Call me small, but very loud contingent if you want. But I promise you, I'm not the only one. You're not John Lennon. And for sure you're not the only one. But you're still a small, very loud contingent that for some reason loves to project that shit onto Gamergate. But you know what? This isn't about Gamergate, this is about comics. And you've basically just given us a perfect example of what the social justice warrior is like. You will definitely not write a comic. You will stay on this website writing bullshit and boycotting Marvel. In fact, I give you a week. You will be back to buying Marvel. Trust me. You will. Anyway, guys, this has been Chowman93. Like and share the video, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all later.